Welcome to the foundation. Welcome back. I am So L, seeker of truth L, speaker of truth L, and this is the foundation. Today's episode is Commercia Belli, the art of war against the people. I know it's commercial belly. I'm going to show you the definition. This is, if you know, you know, the two guy, the two guy. We giving shout outs. Welcome to the foundation once again, where we understand incorrect information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. Correct information incorrectly applied can get you hurt. So as always, we are looking to correctly apply that correct information here at the foundation. Definitely want to say thank you for, checking out the show, getting back into the groove of things. So, as we get back into the groove of things, we appreciate your patience, so on and so forth. So, as we get started, the art of war against the people. I'm going to be quick. This just jumped into my head. We going totally off topic, right? I mean, topic, not topic. I don't know how I pronounce it. I apologize. But listen, usually we have a main theme that we stick to. We have like over 370 videos that pretty much has the main theme. This time, we're gonna do a dance off the main theme. Do a little dancery. This is important to me, and I think it's difficult for me to have, let's say, information and knowledge and awareness about so many other things, but the foundation, we speak on private trust administration and training, which is very important. It's the interface. It's what is it? How you exchange your energy and what structure you use to do that is very important. And understanding what that means is very important. But today, we are going to talk about what is known as Commercia Belli. And we're going to jump into that. So I appreciate you checking out the show. And once again, my name is Sot L, seeker of truth L, speaker of truth L. This is the foundation. And let's just jump into it. We're going to do a dance. And, this has been coming for a while. It's just one of those things. And we may notice as the channel moves forward that we may change the specific topics that we speak on. I would say expand. And this is a tough decision because, we typically stay pretty safe here at the channel. I haven't gotten any strikes or anything like that, but, things are happening. And I think the people need to be aware of things more than just trust, having more to do with just trust. So, let's get into that dance. As always, we would like to invite you to check out welcometothefoundation.com. We recently got the site back up. I think this is the third time it's been brought down. I can't really essentially tell you why. Besides, there's some hackers maybe, Amazon Web Services. I don't know. I can't explain what's happening, but I do know it happened. So, site backup. We did a couple of changes, right? So we did remove a bunch of PDFs that we felt didn't necessarily apply to, the brand. We still do have the Passport, No Social Part 1 and Part 2. These are DVDs shipped to you physically. Brother Chris L came through and shared his personal process that he had success with. We vetted it, made sure it was cool. He came through once. He came through twice. So there it is. We have the Part 1 and Part 2 bundle. So there's that. We have the Foundation Trust Primer, which is over, 18 hand documents picked by me. Most people, when they start hearing me speak about trust, they get confused. Either they have no trust experience or they do have trust experience, but it's really only with statutory trusts. And at one point in time, I thought that was the only thing that was happening as well because, I got a public statutory education. But, as I went on, I realized there are different types of trust with different jurisdictional aspects and stuff like that. So if you're new to what I just described, as I was at one time, the primer is probably for you. It's 18 documents handpicked by me. And it was just, the answer to a repeated question that I was receiving. Hey, so where do I start? If you were going to start, you knew nothing about private trust, where would you start? It's the trust primer. Now, you can move on to the trust series. We have 3 parts. It's beginning, intermediate, and advanced. This is introductory. This is primer stuff. Get you up to speed to what we're doing, what the benefits are, how we do it, and why we do it the way we do it. So we got part 1, part 2, and part 3. And again, beginning, intermediate, advanced. With that being said, we do happily, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm just going to be honest. Listen, we had a contact little spot down here. Listen, 97% was spam. So that's gone. That pleases me. It definitely pleases me. You can check out our social medias and stuff. Or let me find that. There it is. Follow us, social medias and that dance. You can make a donation if you feel the need. Sign up for our email list at the very least. Sign up for our email list, as well as you can book a consultation. If you'd like to book a consultation with me, you can start the process here. But here's what I want to show you. We've given you the key. So generally, you had to speak to someone or email someone here at the foundation. They get signed up with Trustee training. Then we did a whole revamp of the organization. We automated the training to make it easier so we could allow more people in the training. I think there was at one point the live trainings were, and depending on the feedback we received, we may bring the live training back, which was every Sunday. I think it was 5 p.m. East. It was 5 p.m. Eastern. And we ran for about an hour and a half or something every single Sunday. So we might do that again. I don't know. Depends on the feedback. But what we did is we revamped the system, made it self-paced, and allowed for more of a what would I say? And what is it? Custom. Let's say that. There it is. I found it. Custom learning schedule. So, depending on your schedule, you have children, you have a job, you have all this stuff going on, it was at your own leisure. Then we were able to get all the bugs worked out of that because it took a while. We basically built that up from scratch. So it's like a member portal. You have your own dashboard. You can send messages to support, and you can watch all of the trainings. I think it's pretty cool. But it took a while to set that up and get it all worked out. Now we're confident with it. So now we have expanded beyond the silver tier. We have the gold tier and we have the platinum tier. Up to you. I think, the silver tier is still a great deal. Gold tier, you get 2 monthly calls with support. I think that's, it's included. 2 calls a month, you're setting up your bank account, titling vehicles, or just really wondering what is necessary for specific substantiation. If you're looking to, retitle things, any question you really have, you can set up 2 monthly calls with support. You get private email support, that's unlimited. Same thing with the silver tier. But I personally would do a gold tier. Platinum tier, you just basically, the best part of it, I think, is, you get the passport, no social parts 1 and 2. The Truck Secret Series 1, 2, and 3. The positive court citations, supporting contract trust, and you get unlimited calls with me specifically. So you'll get my private mobile number, not a Google Voice number or a voice over internet protocol number, like actual number. And still you'll get private email support. We do offer retainers, but that's, for states that are more set up. Those generally for people who've been through the training. We don't really offer to the public, and I know how that sounds, but outside of trustees that have been through our training, and we also are very familiar with private family foundations with our tax exempt 501c3 entities. But this is stuff that we just don't advertise. We're a educational firm. We're not like a for-profit organization. So it's not all about the Benjamins. Really, it's really about the multi-generational value that this training can offer you. So if you're interested, it's no longer check out the link in the description or anything. Just go to welcometothefoundation.com. Click on the key in the left-hand pane, and you can get signed up. Also, if you have any questions, email support@welcometothefoundation.com. If you have any questions about, the trustee training, retainer, family foundations, whatever, just shoot an email to support@welcometothefoundation.com. We'll get you sorted, all the way sorted. So with that being said, look, there's something I've had on my mind and for a while, and I've done I think I did a show on this years ago. Honestly, you could probably find it. Actually, I think it was the first show of the foundation. Those of you who know me know that I started out on High Frequency with Yusuf L, but I co-hosted a show called The Vault with a guy named Sharif, and I did that for a year, a little over a year actually, because we overlapped. I did my show, and then I would go on and co-host his show for I think it was like a month or so. Once I started my own show, but so I did that with him for a year, and then started the foundation in 2016. I think it was January too. I think it was the first Wednesday of January was the first show of the foundation. So I'm 99% sure if you go to the YouTube page and you click on videos or whatever, and you scroll all the way down, I don't think it's in order. I don't think it's going to be the last one, but in the first couple rows or something, you can find, I think it's the January 3rd or January 6th. I can't remember exact date, but it was 2016. That was the first show. So I did do a show on Commercial Belli before, but not like this. I'm just going to be honest. And you can go back and verify that if you would like. But this was back in 2016. Saying that just to say that, this has been something that I've been not only talking about for years, but it's been something that I've investigated and known about for years. Let's just say that. So let's just move forward. Where's my Black's Law? Hold on, y'all. Let me grab my Black's Law. I'm recording this live, and I'm not going to edit. 1 second. All right, I got my Black's Law, y'all. And people like, you should start filming your shows and showing your face and stuff. I've thought about it, but I don't think that's something. Oh, this is the 4th edition. I have the deluxe 4th edition. I think I got this years ago. Pretty sure I got off of Amazon before the hype train happened with law books and stuff like that. You can get really good law books from Goodwills and half price books that are within law colleges vicinities. That's man. But I'm looking, common law. So I'm getting close, right? I'm looking for the actual definition. Hold on, what's that? Y'all see my stuff? You block origin. Well, I'm close. I'm real close. Super close. There's commerce. Okay, I'm close. I can't find it. I'm failing live. There it is. Commercia Belli. The first thing it says, hold on, let me click this light on, y'all. There it is. The first thing it says in here, this is, what page is this? It's 337. If you got a Black's Law 4th edition, deluxe edition, it's 337. You got a different Black's Law 4th. I know it's in the 5th. I saw it in the 5th as well. It's in the 5th edition. Crazy. Commercia Belli. That is COMMERCIA space B-E-L-L-I. You can look it up. War contracts. Crazy, huh? War contracts. Why is he saying this? Well, let's keep going. Agreements entered into by belligerents, either in the time of peace to take effect in the event of war or during the war itself, by which arrangement is made for non-hostile intercourse. They may take the form of armistices, check this out, truces, capitulations, cartels. This is the crazy one. Passports. How many of y'all got a passport? It's a war contract. Did you know that? Safe conducts and safeguards. Safe conducts. To me, that statutory law be a lot about safe conducts and safeguards. The public welfare type dance. Public rights. I'm not playing. Okay, so look, I pulled it up off Oxford. Commerce of war, an agreement between belligerents on the treatment of commercial or humanitarian activities that might affect the belligerent states themselves or their populations during the course of an armed conflict. I mean, I've heard, whispers. I love when people say that. I hear whispers. It just sounds funny to me. So I'm just going to say it. I hear whispers. I've heard whispers of, the banking emergency never being officially proclaimed as over. I've heard whispers. That's funny. I've heard whispers of, certain situations with regards to Congress and Abraham Lincoln. And maybe, those war powers never being rescinded. It's a big thing. Now, I want to say, Commercia Belli, like, what are you saying? Are you talking about? Let me just get it straight. It's, I have a theory that Commercia Belli exists between American citizens and the United States. And most people would be like, oh, why would you say that? The United States, the states are the United States. There's this weird theory going around, and I've heard it, and I've thought about it. I don't know. What do you think about it? But I found at least a reference, right? I've heard people say, and I've heard this multiple times, the United States and the United States of America are two different things. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. But I found this. This is what is this? This is Cornell Law School, but this is the Uniform Commercial Code. So this is federal, right? I know it says this is Article 9, which deals with securities. I don't know. Location of the debtor. Doesn't really matter, any of this stuff. Like, I'm not worried about that, but this is the part that kind of gets me, right? This right here. Location of United States. And it doesn't say the United States. It doesn't say the United States of America. It just says the United States. But the crazy part is the United States is located in the District of Columbia. So look, just follow me for a second. What if the United States is the United States, right? Location of United States, just these two words, whatever. What if it is separate from the United States of America? What if the United States is maybe at war with the American people? Commercially, though. And how would you say that? Well, this tax. There's these taxes, man. And, specifically income tax, because how can the government tax me on the exchange of my energy? Let's not go there, because there's a whole bunch of things. This is what I'm talking about, the United States. It kind of leads to this, whole little dance here, right here. Right? Then I got this, right? This is what the word enemy means. Right? 50 U.S. Code, subsection 402, definitions. Listen, any individual, partnership, or other body of individuals of any nationality resident within the territory, including that occupied. So we talk about this territory. This word territory is very interesting when you talk about law and the definition. Denotatively, not connotatively, including that occupied by the military and naval forces of any nation with which the United States is at war. What if the United States and the United States of America are two different nations, man? That's weird. That can't be real. Pull this out. Give me control of a nation's currency, and I care not who makes their laws. This is Mayor Amschel Rothschild, 1743, 1812. That was his lifespan. The reason why I give credence to this specific document is because it was released by an ex-Navy intelligence officer in a book that he wrote. His name was, Bill Cooper. Now, they murdered that man. And I don't really get into conspiracy stuff, right? But this right here was written by very intelligent people. It's called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. It's crazy how they get into the concepts of energy, right? The science of physical mechanics, the phenomenon of potential energy is associated with the physical property called elasticity or stiffness, and can be represented by a stretched spring. In that electronic science, potential energy is stored in a capacitor instead of a spring. This property is called capacitance instead of elasticity or stiffness. These are correlations. In the science of physical mechanics, the phenomenon of kinetic energy is associated with a physical property called inertia or mass, and can be represented by mass or a flywheel in motion. In electronic science, because listen, they figured out energy, man, and everything in this whole world works off energy. Kinetic energy is stored in an inductor. This is in a magnetic field. We all have magnetic fields that's around our body instead of a mass. This property is called inductance instead of inertia. In the science of physical mechanics, the phenomenon of energy dissipation is associated with the physical property called friction or resistance, and can be represented by a dashpot or other device which converts energy into heat. In electronic science, dissipation of energy is performed by an element called either a resistor or a conductor. The term resistor being the generally used to describe the more ideal device employed to convey electronic energy efficiently from one location to another. The property of a resistance or conductor is measured as either resistance or conductance, reciprocals. So economic capitis was just capital. They equate. This is science. This is why I'm like, anyone can tell me, it's just a hoax. Okay, man, it's a well conducted hoax that makes a lot of sense and explains a lot. Economic conductance, goods. Conductance is goods. Economic inductance is services. Peep this. Mr. Rothschild discovered the basic principle of power, influence, and control. The principle is when you assume the appearance of power, people soon give it to you. Mr. Rothschild discovered that currency or deposit loan accounts had the required appearance of power that could be used to induce people. Basically, he would walk people in the bank and show them all the gold, but it wasn't his gold. Look at this. Apparent capital as a paper inductor. Y'all know what an inductor, we just learned what inductance was. In this structure, credit, presented as a pure element called currency, has the appearance of capital, but is in effect negative capital. Hence, it has the appearance of service, but is in fact indebtedness or debt. It is therefore an economic inductance instead of an economic capacitance. And if balanced in no other way, will be balanced by the negation of population, either war or genocide. The total goods and services represent real capital called the gross national product, and currency may be printed up to this level and still represent economic capacitance. But currency printed beyond this level is subtractive, represents the introduction of economic inductance, and constitute notes of indebtedness. War is therefore the balancing of the system by killing the true creditors, the public, which we have taught to exchange true value for inflated currency, and falling back on whatever is left of the resources of nature and regeneration of those resources. Let me move down here a little bit. We got some applications, right? You got an economic model. You got some industrial stuff. I think I passed it, right? But check this out. I think it was in the breakthrough. Nope. There's some crazy stuff that was said in here, and it wasn't said too far. Here we go. They want to achieve a total predictable economy. Where is it at? Consequently, in the interest of future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with the ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, which is wealth, of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons, which, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort. Look, y'all should read this. If you have never read this, you need to read this. You need to read this. I'm looking for a specific spot, though. Back bridges, the breakthrough. Nope, it was down here. They was talking about beasts of burden. Hold on. Housebroken. In order to achieve total predictable economy, the low-class elements of society must be brought under total control. They must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early age. Like debt? Like pay your debts? Sounds like a social duty. Pay your debt. Economic. Before they have an opportunity to question the propriety of the matter. Propriety. In order to achieve such conformity, the lower class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of the government-operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. This is, you know what the orphan centers were? This is the public school system. Theoretical introduction. Well, man, I gotta find that in science and mechanics. Where is it, man? No. Economics, you mean to make it short of all. Man. So it was like, man, where is the language? But it said, a nation of people who will not use their intelligence or who doesn't have intelligence or will not use their intelligence are beasts of burden. I'm about to find this. Y'all just hold. If I wasn't on the spot right now, I would have just went straight to it. There it is. Energy is recognized as the key to all activity on Earth. Natural science is the study of sources and control of natural energy, and social science theoretically expressed as economics. Commercia, Belli, war contracts. It's the study of the sources and control of social energy. Both are bookkeeping systems, mathematics. Therefore, mathematics is the primary energy science. And the bookkeeper can be the king if the public can be kept ignorant of the methodology of the bookkeeping. All science is merely a means to an end. This means is knowledge. The end is control. Beyond this remains only one issue. Who will be the beneficiary? This is cold right here. This should put chills up your spine. In 1954, this was the issue of primary concern. In 1954, that's a long time ago. Although the so-called moral issues, because these people don't deal with morals, they deal with ethics, were raised in the view of the law of natural selection. They're talking about natural law here. It was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. Consequently, in the interest of future world peace and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public. I mean, look, silent weapons for quiet wars, PDF, just type it into the search. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's just most people don't talk about it. You got to read this and understand what you're dealing with and say this is fake and say that there's no war. There's no commercial war. In this structure, credit presented as a pure element called currency. You know, Federal Reserve's is currency, fiat currency specifically. You know, you look up the term fiat currency, F-I-A-T, fiat. Has the appearance of capital, but is in effect negative capital. It's called inflation. It loses value over time, no matter what. Man, and you don't think we're at commercial, we're being warred against commercially? The aviation field provided the greatest evolution in economic engineering by the way of mathematical theory of shock testing. In this process, a projectile is fired from an airframe on the ground, and the impulse of the recoil is monitored by vibration transducers connected to the airframe and wired to chart recorders. By studying the echoes or reflections of the recoil impulse in the airframe, it is possible to discover critical vibrations in the structure of the airframe, which either vibrations of the engine or aeolian, I think it's like aeolian vibrations of the wings, are a combination of the two, might reinforce, resulting in a resonant self-destruction of the airframe in flight as an aircraft. From that standpoint of engineering, this means that the strengths and weaknesses of the structure of the airframe in terms of vibrational energy can be discovered and manipulated. To use this method of the airframe shock testing in economic engineering, the prices of commodities are shocked, and the public consumer reaction is monitored. The resulting echoes of the economic shock are interpreted theoretically by computers, and the psychoeconomic structure of the economy is thus discovered. It is by this process that partial, differential, and difference matrices are discovered that define the family household and make possible its evaluation as an economic industry. Do you understand this happened? Do you understand they were doing this in 1954? 1954? This was the language. Look, this is 1954. 1954. Isn't that technically over 75 years ago? Then the response of the household to future shocks can be predicted and manipulated, and society becomes a well-regulated animal with its reins under control of a sophisticated computer-regulated social energy bookkeeping system. And y'all just love this artificial intelligence. Man, you don't see what's coming. Eventually, every individual element of the structure comes under computer control through a knowledge of personal preferences, such knowledge guaranteed by Computer Association of Consumer Preferences. And now you understand why these companies are so interested in getting your data. They need the knowledge of your personal preferences, and such knowledge guaranteed by Computer Association of Consumer Preferences using Universal Product Code, UPCs, with identified consumers, identified via association with the use of a credit card, and later a permanent tattooed body number. I don't believe that. You're going to see that way later. But everybody has a smartphone that emits Bluetooth signals, Wi-Fi signals, cellular signals, near-field communication signals. People are signed up to accounts with their phone numbers, and then you got your email, and then people get stuff delivered to them from Amazon to their home addresses. This was 1954. You think that they haven't already figured this out? Economics is only a social extension of a natural energy system. Did you know that? I knew that. Did you know that? It also has its three passive components. Because of the distribution of wealth and the lack of communication and the lack of data, this field has been the last energy field for which knowledge of these three passive components has been developed. Since energy is the key to all activity on the face of the earth, it follows that in order to attain a monopoly of energy, raw materials, goods and services, and to establish a world system of slave labor, it is necessary to have a first strike capability in the field of economics. In order to maintain our position, it is necessary that we have absolute first knowledge of the science of control over all economic factors and first experience at engineering the world economy. In order to achieve such sovereignty, we must at least achieve this one end, that the public will not make either the logical or mathematical connection between economics and the other energy sciences, or learn to apply such knowledge. That's why there's specific curriculums taught in public schools, and if educators go outside those curriculums, even if it helps the student body, they will lose their position. It's only a matter of time before a new breed of private programmer economists will catch on to the far-reaching implications of the work begun at Harvard in 1948. The speed with which they can communicate their warning to the public will largely depend upon how effective we have been at controlling the media, subverting education, and keeping the public distracted with matters of no real importance. This could be a straight-up conspiracy, y'all. 100%. Do I believe it is? Absolutely not. You can look around and you can see what's going on. If you stop and just look and think, you can see what's going on. You see it. Every single generation, the wealth that generation grew and created for themselves, it's taxed by the state when they die. Every single time a family member dies, their energy, which is infinite, is traded in exchange for debt notes. It has the appearance of capital, but is essentially and realistically negative capital. If you look around, you see it. You can see this. This inflation, the price of stuff, all this stuff. It's just, it's a big, huge press to extract energy, and we're the ones being pressed. This is why I'm so adamant about what we teach here at the foundation. But I just wanted to pose a question to the audience. Does this sound like war to you? Does this sound like Commercia, Belli? Is the United States a part of the United States of America? Or is it separate? And they always talk about, we want to add District to Columbia, make it the 51st state. What? So the District of Columbia is not a state. It's not a part of the United States of America. That's where the seat of government is for the United States. What's happening? Ask questions. What is this? Do you think that and let me be more specific. Do you believe that the individual is the enemy of the United States? Do you believe that you deserve to be hit with these silent weapons? They're doing this stuff at Harvard. Harvard. They got diagrams. This is a hoax, y'all. This is an elaborate hoax. Look at this. Oh, yeah, they just made this up. Aggregate. Oh, this is an electrical inductor. Coil of wire has an electrical current in its primary. Look, man, this is all fake. There's no way this is real. Man, in order to fake a document, you just got to write some fake equations. There's no way. The flow of commodities from industry P to industry Q is given by IPQ, evaluated by the formula IPQ equals YPQ. There's no way this is real. Don't believe any of this. I could be crazy. That's why I don't get legal advice. Legal advice. I don't give legal advice. I don't give legal advice, financial advice, marriage advice, parenting advice, self-help advice, religious advice. I don't give any advice. All I can offer is guidance. But this is something to be thought about. I think 100% this is something to be thought about. I trust that I did not ruin your day, but I do trust that I made you think. And I would really like to know what your take is on this. Shoot me an email. Support at welcometothefoundation.com. You can leave a comment. You can do whatever you want. You can just think it in the air. Maybe I'll get it. But I'm very interested. Very interested to see what y'all think. That's it, y'all. I appreciate you checking out the show. Y'all enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Catch me next week. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's very important. And I'll catch y'all in the next episode of The Foundation. Peace, y'all.